welcome to City Journal. I am Whitney Starner here with Mayor Schertzer. What construction is happening on Mount Vernon Avenue? I've been driving around a lot and I've been seeing it, and I just want to know what's going on.
Yeah, well, that's a great question, Whitney. First of all, let me tell you that the project that you're seeing taking place right now in the city of Marion on Mount Vernon Avenue is an Ohio Department of Transportation project. It benefits the city. The orange barrels went up a little bit premature before the Popcorn Festival, and no construction was actually taking place. So I called ODOT, and they were able to take down the orange barrels until after the Popcorn Festival, at which time they started the curb and gutter replacement that you're seeing take place right now. This project is a state project that will do some curb and gutter work and resurfacing of State Route 95 that goes eastbound and westbound through the city. So they'll do Mount Vernon Avenue paving after they're done with the curb and gutter work, and then they'll move down to Vine Street in between Church and Center Street, and then they'll do from Vine Street all the way down to the railroad tracks on Center Street, which is the state route inside the city limits. They'll also do a little bit of work going westbound on State Route 95, which is after the Columbia Street overpass. So that is a city, not a city project, but an ODOT project that benefits the city. So in addition to that, what you're going to start to see is a lot more resurfacing taking place in the city of Marion, which is a city project. And that city project is going to cost about $1.2 million in street resurfacing. And that's where we go into our residential neighborhoods and we mill off a couple inches of the asphalt, and they'll come in with the asphalt machine afterwards and put a couple inches of new asphalt down. Now, some of the streets that you're going to see being done in the city's resurfacing, we try and do as much as we can throughout the city in every section of the city. For example, Bermuda Drive will be done, Colonial Avenue, so you can see we're in residential neighborhoods. We're going into Chateau, and we're doing Villandry, and we're doing Chateau Drive, and then some other streets. So there are about 15 streets total for the city's resurfacing project. So when you add up what's going on with State Route 95 and ODOT and the city's resurfacing, we're close to $1.5 million of resurfacing taking place in the city. And next year's project is going to be one of our bigger projects that we'll have a chance to talk about, but it is going to be a little over $1.5 million in street resurfacing. Street resurfacing, as you know, is a nicer street, takes out the potholes and the cracks in the street. So we do this every year, and this is the time of year that we do it, and these projects need to be wrapped up before cold weather sets in late October, early November.
Along with all those great projects, what other projects are going on in the city right now?
Well, every year we do major sewer replacement repairs. We have sewers that are 100 years old, and we've targeted a certain area of the city where we need a lot of sewer work done. This year we wrapped up the George Street project, and next year our big sewer project is going to be Farming Street. And Farming Street is just one street to the north of George. So you can see we're targeting a certain area of the city for major sewer replacements. So this is a little bit different. This is new sewers, storm and sanitary sewers. The other private utilities will come in, new gas lines, new water lines, new electric lines if it's necessary for them to do that. But we're also going to get new curbs, gutters, and sidewalks on this major replacement project also. We refer to it sometimes as a complete street project. All the infrastructure gets replaced. And a smaller sewer project that we're going to get done this year is on Sharpless Court. It's a really small sewer project just off of East Center Street, and they're going to start that here in a couple weeks, and they'll wrap it up before this year's over. But the Farming Street project will start late this year, and it'll go well into the spring of next year. So you can see we're spending millions of dollars on infrastructure in the city of Marion, whether it's on the streets, the curbs, the gutters, or the sewers.
I love hearing about all the great projects going on in our city. We will take a quick break, and we will be back on the City Journal.
this is me. And this is my teacher, Miss C. She's so great. She teaches me a lot of good stuff. She taught me that everything I do starts with me. I'm in charge. She taught me to have a plan and make sure I do all my work before I play. I also learned how to play well with others. I try to remember that everyone can win. And I listen before I talk. That makes working together a lot more fun. I know that balance feels best, so I remember to take care of myself. Miss C taught me lots of things, but the best one ever is that I can be great.
What if every child had the same opportunity? The opportunity to develop the essential life skills and characteristics students need to thrive in the 21st century. The Leader in Me process provides the teacher experience and classroom implementation tools to put your school on the path to greatness. As you integrate timeless principles into your school's core curriculum and language, you will build student self-confidence, reduce discipline referrals, and increase academic achievement. Find out more at theleaderinme.org.
Great happens here.
Hello and welcome back to City Journal. We're still here with Mayor Schertzer, and I've been driving around the city a lot lately, and a lot of overgrown grass and weeds have been around the city. What is our city doing to take care of that problem?
Well, again, we're trying something new this year that the city has never done before. In years past, for decades, the city health department has been responsible for what we call tall weeds and grass, which violate the city's ordinances. And they have dealt with those within the public health departments. The Marion Public Health District, when they combined, and before that, when it was the city's own health district or health department. So this year being the first year that we've had to deal with this issue ourselves as a city government, what we did is we hired an individual who, Jeff Gibson, who came from us from the Parks Department, and he is a part-time seasonal person who kind of supervises this program. We don't send Jeff out through the city driving around looking for tall weeds and grass. This is a complaint-driven program where you need to call the safety director's office and report a yard where the grass is over 8 or 12 inches tall. Then we'll send Jeff out and he'll do an inspection and he'll post the property. Now, many of these properties are abandoned and nobody lives in them, but occasionally we find a case where somebody actually lives there. So the different approach that we've taken this year is the due process of the law, notifying the property owner, the responsible property owner, because this is really their responsibility to keep the weeds and grass down, not the city government's responsibility. We don't really want the government to do things like this. However, we have too many irresponsible property owners that don't take care of the property that's titled to them. So Jeff will go out and do an inspection, and then he'll send out a certified letter to the responsible property owner. And if they do not comply within 5 days, then we have two options. One, we can go out and we can mow it ourselves, or we can prosecute them in the municipal court, which we have done both of those. But oftentimes what happens is we'll send a crew out that works for Jeff. They're seasonal helpers in our department, and we'll go out and mow it. And then the property owner will get a bill from the city. And I can assure you, it's better for you to take care of mowing your own grass than it is for the government to have them to come out and do it, because the bill is going to be much higher. And if you don't pay that bill, we're going to assess it to your property taxes, which we have the legal right and authority to do so. I can tell you the statistics up through August the 15th, we have had 343 tall weeds and grass complaints. Out of that 343, 139 have self-complied, and we haven't had to take any further action on them. That's really what we want to see happen. But unfortunately, about 170 of those 343, we've had to go out and mow them. And we have billed people for those. And we have actually gotten people to pay those bills, which is kind of astonishing to us, but that's good. But the rest of those folks that haven't paid those bills, it's going to be assessed to their property taxes. Again, this is the responsibility of the property owner to maintain their property to the standards of this community in compliance with our codes in the city of Marion. But we'll take this grass and weed program and we'll roll it into next year, and we're going to run it the same way. We have seen great success with this program, and we have seen less weed and grass complaints later in the season than we did early on in the season. The program's still going on because the weeds and grass are still growing, but we're going to taper this program off by the end of September or the 1st of October, and then we'll pick it up in, again, the May of 2019.
While we're on the topic of things that have to be taken care of by the city, how does the city deal with loose tires or tires that are just on the street, things like that?
Well, I think what you're referring to are abandoned used tires. People really don't know how to properly dispose of them. So what we've done as a city is we've kind of taken it upon ourselves to begin to educate the public on what is the best way to dispose of an old used tire. And the one thing that you can do is if you look on your city utility bill, on the back side of it, it'll give you information on where to dispose of those tires properly and that are environmentally safe and sound to our community. These used tires are becoming quite a blight on our community. So a couple businesses here in Marion that will actually take used tires for a small fee. Walmart will take a used tire for $1.50 a tire. Zeus Tire and Logan Tire will also take those used tires for $3 per tire. So we ask you to be responsible and dispose of those tires properly. Now, occasionally, DKMM, which stands for Delaware, Knox, Marion, and Morrow counties, which is the solid waste district that the city of Marion participates in, as well as Marion County, will sometimes hold a tire pickup day, and they will pay for the disposal of those tires. Also, the Marion Public Health Department gets a grant from DKMM. So if you're wondering how to dispose of 10 tires or more, you might want to give Marion Public Health Department a phone call to see if those grant dollars are still available to them at Marion Public Health to dispose of those tires. The bottom line is this: we have a problem with used tires, and we all need to work together to dispose of those tires in a proper manner to clean up our community. They don't belong in the ditches out in the country. They don't belong in the garage of an abandoned home. They belong in a proper place and the proper person to dispose of them legally and safely for our community.
I've been hearing a lot of talk about the city and county land bank. What is the difference between those two?
Well, the City Land Bank was created in about 2008-2009, and we believe that we were one of the first cities in the state of Ohio to have a city's land bank. And what was happening back then is we were getting these grants from the state and federal government. The first grant was the NSP, or the Neighborhood Stabilization Program. We got $1.1 million to tear down blighted and abandoned homes. The second grant was Moving Ohio Forward, about a $500,000 grant. And then we also got supplementals on each of those particular grants. So we would run all our abandoned blighted homes through the city's land bank in a way to dispose of those. Oftentimes we would get the owner to sign over those properties to us. We could go in and we can tear them down, which we have done. We have torn down over 200 homes since those grants first began in about 2008 or 9. But today it's an entirely different program. The state laws have changed, the federal regulations have changed, and so now city land banks aren't as useful as a county land bank. So the county commissioners created the county land bank about 3 years ago. And as mayor of the largest city of Marion, I sit on the county land bank board. And they received an $850,000 grant to tear down blighted homes. And it's a completely different process. So what we're doing now is we're kind of winding down the city land bank because we don't need to be competing with the county's land bank that gets all the grant money. Many of the properties that are in the city's land bank that have been donated to us over the past 10 years, we do an auction in the city hall about once a month. The next auction for the city land bank, and this is where we auction off the lots after we've removed the blighted properties. We remove all the trees and all the shrubs. All the back taxes and liens are removed from these properties, so they come to you clean and clear. The next city land bank auction is going to be October the 16th. That is a Tuesday in the lobby of City Hall at 10:30. If anybody is interested in any of these lots, and we're down to 19 lots from over 50 lots that we once had in the city land bank. So you can see that we have sold a great deal of those lots that were once part of the city land bank. We're trying to sell them all and then close down the city land bank. If you're interested in any of those lots, the best thing to do is call Law Director Mark Russell's office in City Hall. You can find his phone number in the telephone book under City Government, and he can send you a list of all the lots that are going to be up for auction on October the 16th in the city's land bank. Now, the county's land bank is really where we're doing the bulk of the work right now. We've torn down about 30 to 40 homes. We've spent about 75% of that grant, which we had to do by the end of October. So we're going to start to use up all the grant money that the county land bank has received. So now the county land bank is responsible for trying to find a way to continue to fund the county's land bank so we can continue to demolish these blighted homes that bring down the property values of the good homes in our neighborhoods. One very cooperative program that we're working on right now, the city and the county land bank, is we're getting ready to demolish what is known as the Sundance Bar and Grill on West Center Street. It just sits west of the Marion Palace Theater. It's been a blight in downtown for a number of years now. The county land bank is going to tear down part of it, and then the city's land bank is going to tear down the other part. Because of the rules and regulations that the new county land bank has to follow, they were unable to demolish the entire structure, so the city land bank was able to participate with some funds to tear down the other half of it. So we signed a contract about a week ago, and we hope that that Sundance Bar and Grill will be on the ground and leveled out by the end of this month or the 1st of October. So you can see how both city and county land banks work together and how they work, but we're going to phase down the city land bank and focus solely on the county land bank and making sure that it has the financial resources to continue its hard work after the $800,000 grant has expired. Right now they're getting what they call DTAC money from the county. That's only about $150,000 a year. The county commissioners recently raised the transfer tax $2. That's $1,000 of every property that is sold. Every $1,000, $2 of that goes into the transfer, and that money can generate over $200,000. So with the DTAC money and the transfer money, that would be a good sum of money to continue to operate the county land bank if the county commissioners so desire to do so. It's really up to them because that is something that they're responsible for. So both land banks have done a lot of work in the past couple of years in demolishing homes. When it's all said and done, by the end of this last grant that we have, we hope to have torn down over 250 homes in the past 10 or so years, and we want to continue to remove these blighted properties from our neighborhoods. And this isn't just a city project, this is a county-wide project, even though most of the homes being torn down are in the city of Marion.
We're going to take our last break, and we will be back with you shortly.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Haven't seen you around before. Are you new in the neighborhood?
Yeah. Haven't you heard about the new state law on yard waste bags?
No, I guess not.
Well, if yard waste is set out by the curb for pickup, state law requires residents to use a compostable bag, like me, or a large paper bag, or a hauler-provided cart. Plastic bags like you are now banned from curbside pickup. This is the other new bag in the neighborhood.
Hi guys, what's shaking?
Hey there, welcome.
Welcome back to City Journal. Our last topic of the day is city jobs. I know I have a hard time because I could not find a job for the longest time. So is there any job opportunities in our community?
Well, I'll tell you what, I have realized, having teenage daughters, how hard it is for high school students to get a good part-time job in the community or a summer job, and it is a challenge. Most of the jobs that exist in the Marion community right now are full-time jobs. There's no doubt about that. The number one question that I always get, and if I've said this once, I've said it 100 times, people ask me all the time, Mayor, when are you going to create some jobs in this community? And right now I can tell you that we have more job openings than we have qualified workers. So we need to fill the jobs that we have, the full-time jobs, not the jobs that Whitney's looking for. But Whirlpool's always looking, Silverline's looking, Marion General Hospital is always looking. There are all kinds of jobs out there, and these are generally good paying jobs. And we're seeing the wages go up on these. I was just out on Kellogg Parkway earlier this week, and I saw ArcelorMittal, which is one of the factories out there. They're hiring right now also. So these jobs are available in the Marion community. The most important thing is you have to walk into that job interview and be job ready. You have to show up on time, be able to pass a drug test, have reliable transportation, and be able to get along with your coworkers, because you're there to do the job for the company, and that helps the community thrive. I was just at the ribbon cutting for Poet Biorefineries just yesterday. And Poet Biorefineries came to Marion 10 years ago because they recognized that the natural resource that they needed the most was right here in Marion County and the surrounding counties, and that is a good, strong corn crop, because that's what they make the ethanol out of. And that makes our nation much stronger because it makes us more energy independent and not rely on the Middle East oil-producing countries. And energy independence is a defense issue for this country. And this doubling of the production at Poet Biorefinery at the ribbon cutting yesterday is something that we should be very proud of, because it's created 20 new jobs and over 100 construction jobs out there. So it's companies like that that we have to embrace in this community. We have to make sure that we have well-qualified workers ready to go to work in these jobs right here in this area. There are plenty of jobs here. Now, from time to time, there are also city jobs within city government. 2 of them right now, we're looking for a transit department worker. Now, this is the Marion Area Transit Department. This is a bus washer. This is a full-time job, but it is what we consider a second shift job. It's from 4 p.m. to about 10 p.m. It's only 32 hours a week, but it's a good way to get your foot in the door when it comes to city government that can lead to other city jobs within the street department or the sanitation department. This job starts you out about $10.80 an hour, and you can work your way up to $14.21 an hour, and these jobs all have great benefits, and it's a good starting point. You can apply at the 3rd floor of City Hall, or you can go on the City Hall's website and you can apply online. The job application is open until Friday, September the 28th. Another job we have is in the sanitation department. This is also a full-time job with great benefits, and it's a first shift job. The starting salary here is $16.59, and you can work your way up to $22.12 an hour. And this job opening is open for applications until October the 2nd, again, on the 2nd floor of City Hall. Just ask for Amy O'Connor. She is our HR personnel person, and she can get you signed up and get an application filled out. But you will have to take a drug test, you will have to take a physical, you will have to have a legal, reliable driver's license. And also for this job, you're going to need a commercial driver's license, because if you go to work for the City of Marion, there is a high probability that you're going to be driving heavy equipment, a sanitation truck or a dump truck or something of that nature, which requires a commercial driver's license in the City of Marion. So there are jobs in city government, and there are jobs throughout the Marion community of all varying shapes and sizes. I sit on the Can-Do Board, which is the economic development organization for the Marion City and Marion County area, and they are doing a great job of expanding and working with expanding companies like a Poet, like working with Nucor Steel and other companies here in town that are adding on and expanding, which all creates more jobs for the Marion community. So we have plenty of jobs right now. We just need to make sure that we get the qualified workers out to those jobs.
Thank you so much for all that great information today.